Well, so just to undo that, if you're still looking at my screen, if I undo this here, if the spreadsheet just goes on and on down the row, you can just keep scrolling down here into the hundreds, right, and thousands. And then so by just boxing this in, it's I guess a formatting issue of highlighting the bottom row, holding down Control Shift and double arrow down, highlights everything down forever. And then when you say hide, that disappears. And so now everything's boxed in. That's one formatting issue. Then I like to take the font that I'm using and take out formatting. So I highlight what we pasted in, go up here to format, and say clear formatting. What that does is drop it back to the default, in my case, Arial 8 font. But now I can see that a lot better, and I do see some of the color changes and things that are still in there. Then let's see what else. Go ahead.
Here, I'm sorry to butt in, but I might ask you to repeat a few things because this is a really unique opportunity to just talk the two of us. So I'm going to make sure that I make notes of all of these things. So as you're talking, I'm going to be writing.
I think that's, Tyler, one of the reasons I'll video some of these separate parts, and then I can just send over the video too. Not that that's as good as the notes, but as a backup to your notes. How about that?
Perfect.
So let's see. I've got January through December. Looks like I have my 12 months. I've got my total here. I also like to grab, I'll start at this top corner and scroll down to the bottom corner, hold down Shift and click, hold down Shift and click. I don't like all the zeros. So I will take I'll make this number format so that they're all numbers, because sometimes we'll lose the format through this process. So if I click number, turns them all into numbers, adds 2 zeros, and then I click remove a decimal place, remove a decimal place.
Okay.
Well, this, to my eye, starts to look a lot simpler. Now I'm going to take this total column, hold down the control button, get rid of some of these at the top. Do I want to? No, I'll keep them all in there. Let's copy this whole thing. Copy. Come over here to column D, paste. I do. Okay, pretty good. So I see the 660,000 right over here. And if I scroll down, everything looks like it's in place. Is this okay? And is this what you did too, by the way? Is this what you did prior?
I didn't get that far. And so I was going to ask, when you shift over to your main tab, the totals did not align with what I had imported there for the T12. So is it a safe assumption that it's everything on the main tab? Yes, that one.
Yeah.
It's pulling from that totals column that you just copied into. Correct?
Yeah, it is, and it did shift. Okay. See how gross potential rent's now 660,000 there?
Yep.
So that's good news. And then, do they give us in this file folder, is there an OM?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Let me open OM, because there's 3 pieces of data we need to start with: the number of units, the gross rental square footage, and some kind of idea of price. And price we may not actually get from the OM.
Yeah, I think this one just said market price.
Rock Ridge Ranch. Nice. NOI, so that's in string 310,000. We'll check that. We'll see if we hit that 310,000 too on our own. So units. So as I pop back and forth here to your writing template, what did I say? 74 units? I forgot already.
74, yeah.
Okay. Does it say the square footage right there? Rentable square feet? 1968.
Yes. 57,678.
57,678.
Yeah.
I don't know the price per unit yet, and I'll come back and change that. But now, and I'll probably put in the title Rock Ridge Ranch. Triple R. I like that. Triple R. So now let's go back. Now that we've got the T12 cleaned up a little, now let's check your coding. So starting, does this make sense? Are we up to where, are you okay with where we are?
Yeah, and but if I could butt in again, a question that would help a lot with this right off the bat: difference between other income bad versus other income good. I can guess at that, but do you have any specific qualifiers that delineates which is which?
Well, so this goes back to different groups and different philosophies, but in general, other income that comes from sort of, well, okay, so it's going to sound dumb when I say this, but constructive other income is good and destructive other income is bad. And let's take a simple example. We love to list late fees as other income.
Yeah.
But if you think about late fees, this is probably not the greatest form of other income you could have. You know, you start to think about, you know, how many of my tenants are paying late? What's going on here? You know, is this really what I want? Do I really want late paying tenants, right? Now, it's great they're late, you charge them and they pay. I hear that. But on some level, you can decide, well, I think that's a bad other income, right? So, and then in the model, if you jump back to prop 1 here, there's a control right here. See this back here that says B21.
Mm-hmm.
You can discount the other income bad.
Oh, because when you're presenting this to a bank, they're not going to accept all of the other income, right? You're not in the business of making money off of late fees. You're in the business of getting your rents up, right?
And that's a beautiful way to state the general idea. Yes.
Yeah.
And you can play with it. You can go, well, this bank's not going to care. I'll count it as 100 because I want the loan, right? Mm-hmm. But in your analysis that you're looking at with your investors, you may say, I'd rather put it in as 50 because I'd like to be a little bit conservative and I'd like to shift that other into more constructive sources.
Okay. So a follow-up question to that then. I think of pet fees as being a good example of in between. Do you really want pets in your property? Probably not. But if you're advertising it and they're paying for it, then it could be considered a constructive source of income. But where would you put pet fees on that scale?
So I think you're into, you know, your decision as an operator. I mean, I feel like the higher class of building you're in, the more likely they are to accept pets, only because people are, you know, the tenants in an A-class building are pretty much, they're like homeowners. You know, they pay a lot of money in rent potentially. You know, they want a dog, they want a cat. So I feel like these services are important services to offer, even though they cause some additional trouble.
Okay. And then
I think I would call it good depending on the class of the building, right? If it was a C class, I'd worry about pet rent. I don't know. That's my bias of bias of how well mannered the pets are. I said no pets in a single family home I had, and then this guy showed up and said, I got a dog, he's crate trained. And I was like, what's crate trained? And he's like, here, look, he stays in the crate all day while we're at work. You know, he stays in the cage and he loves it. He's trained for it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. Yeah, I'll take that dog. And I did charge him too, and he paid me. So I thought that was fantastic. But that was an owner who really, you know, he knew what he was doing with his pet.
Right.
Anyway, so yeah, I'd go good on that. Well, you want to go one by one? I'm okay with GPR at 660.
Yep.
What's rent charge? I don't know.
I don't
369.
really know what they meant by that.
I don't know what that is. Okay, fine. Bad because we don't know what it is.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I think this is what this method of pasting in and coding the T12 allows us to do. As a team, we can sit around and just talk about what it is. You know, pent red, you've got other income miscellaneous, and then I might say to you, I'd list that as good. I don't know where I got a miscellaneous. I wonder where my other income miscellaneous goes. That's kind of funny in my template. I'm going to put that down to look at later.
Okay. Yeah, I'm okay changing that though to other income good. That makes sense.
Okay.
The definition or the description you gave.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd change it to good. Do it. Yeah, and now I think what you're doing is bouncing back to the actual document, right?
Like currently, right now.
Yeah.
I'm still watching your screen. Should I be on the?
Oh, so I'll do it. I'll do it. I think I'll do it. Will I do it? Here we go. Other income good. There it is. Yeah, I don't know. I'll look at that miscellaneous and see where that codes to at the moment I can. Okay, lost to lease looks good. Concessions good. And concessions, by the way, is, you know, a negative. How much we're giving away in concessions, not an income, but bad debt, physical vacancy, total rental income, non-rental income. I might just leave this. Can I make that blank just for my eye? And then let's see, rubs, short-term lease fee. Yeah,
I don't know about that one.
I don't either. I mean, so leave it where it is for now, and we can always test the model and just bump that 50% up to 100 back there, and just take all this out and see where it is, and then put it back in and see where it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so NSF fees, pet fee, non-refundable, and I think that's good. Application fee, I think that's good. I don't know where the miscellaneous is. Let me glance quickly. Now I got to answer it more quickly than later. Let me go back here. See this magic table over here? This is where, let's see, other income. Oh, there's a line for miscellaneous. I see it there. So in the actual model, there's another income good, other income bad, there's a rubs, and then an other income miscellaneous. I added that on the last round, and I forgot that I added it. There it is right there. So that's okay, miscellaneous too. Let's go back to 12. Yeah, it's all right. It's coding fine. I thought maybe I had an extra thing in there, but it's doing fine. Move out charges. I guess. Yeah, I guess bad. Okay. Transfer fee income, and not all, you know, not all models do this, by the way. This is sort of an added feature, you know, that if you were in any Lindahl model, they'll tell you to do this, but you have no idea whether the underwriter is really going about this, and it really complicates the underwriting if it's not automatic like this.
Yeah. Yeah. So for transfer fee income, what is that referring to?
I don't know, but it's only $250, so I'm, you know, I don't know. Tenant maintenance fee / credit. Tenant maintenance fee. So you said repairs and maintenance. I'm okay with that. It's a negative number though.
Oh, which is, so if it's a negative number, but it is a credit,
right?
That's kind of like a double negative.
Right. On some templates I've seen it adds it back in because it subtracts a negative, which is an add. Let's see what repairs and maintenance is at. It's at 2692. Up one. So I generally don't like to see that, you know, I don't like their accounting with them showing that up in that part of the accounting.
Mm-hmm.
But what else do we have as R&M right now? Anything else?
I don't think I got there.
So Look at how smart the model is, Tyler. I'm gonna credit this to those around me who are helping me write this, and I'm not going to take credit for this. But notice that the 2692 is now positive, and therefore, since it's in the subtraction side, the expenses, this is being coded correctly, in my opinion. Does that make sense? It's taking
Yeah, it makes sense.
tell you that. Yeah, it's
it
using.
Makes sense,
It's
but I
not
don't
using
understand why.
Well, the trouble is that in their model, they're subtracting this out up here, and we're subtracting it out down there. It should be good. They should be good the way they did it, and we should be good the way we did it. We're just correcting it in terms of we don't like to see repairs and maintenance fees up in the income section, right?
Right.
So insurance, liability to landlord insurance, 96. I might actually call that good. A lot of places will sell renter's insurance and make a commission off of it.
Oh, interesting. Didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, I might change that to a good. Let's see here.
Total, so that next one, I couldn't find it.
Total non-rental income. Is that the total of this column?
I believe so. Yeah.
So if I say sum right here, that's why I have this adjusted totals in comments. Sum, because sometimes I don't know what they're adding. So if I take this and add up these numbers, does it come to 14,588? Yep.
Yes.
So this gets, don't count it as anything. That's perfect. Check, check. Payroll, payroll, payroll. Management. Fine. Gen admin. Marketing. What are referral fees?
No idea.
It almost looks like an income, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Or are these paid? These are paid. Maybe they paid these fees out. So let's call it marketing also. That's a marketing expense. Collection expense native. I don't know. What do you think this is? General admin?
It's fine with me, but then we go back to the double negative issue. Is it actually then adding on, or is it subtracting? I don't.
So here's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to turn off the shared screen and force you back. Open up your doc again, and let me push you to go ahead and keep coding those. Don't let me code them. Let me make you code them.
Okay.
Yeah, so go back to yours, and I'll still film it, and we can look at it later and argue about it. So bank service fees, I don't know. That's general admin.
Okay. Total admin. Good. So we're jumping down to electricity.
Good.
That's going to be utilities.
Good.
I'm assuming everything in that column, water, garbage, that's all going to be utilities, correct?
Yeah.
Unless.
Yep.
Okay.
And do you know you can, like you're typing it in each time, but once you've typed it once, like see number 46, click on 46, grab the little square and drag it down.
Okay.
On 46, A46.
But it'll still work though, right?
Yeah.
If I go on 47, or I have to go to 46?
Yeah. Oh, no, you can go. Yeah, either one. Yeah,
Oh, I lost my sheet here. Sorry. I'm learning that working on the iPad here is not the easiest.
That is challenging. It's not really made for this kind of work.
And then right there. Okay, so I've highlighted it all. Do I click enter or?
I'm not sure. You just, if I click on 46 and drag that copy function down, if you were on a regular computer, it fills them in, right? Is that okay? Did you see them pop up?
Yeah, I saw them pop up. I'm just still learning the shortcuts.
And it's not fair if you're on an iPad, honestly. This is not, it's not fair to ask you to try that. It's not, you can do it later on a regular computer, you know? So,
Okay.
Okay, what's line 52? What's that?
Pest control is going to be contract services, I would imagine.
Yep.
Yeah. Semi-skilled maintenance. Now, would that be repair and maintenance, or is that the actual, almost more of like salary for that entity, in which case it would be contract services?
I do not know. Yeah, I'd probably dump it in one and just be done with it, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as it gets accounted for, right?
Yep. Correct.
And HVAC, repair supplies, I would put that repair and maintenance.
Yeah, a lot of this looks like we're switching R&M.
Roof repair supply. So let's see if I can do that function again. Or maybe I should just not try. Control copy? No. I'll sort that out another day.
Yeah. 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 Once you said iPad, I'm like, oh man, it's going to be too difficult to do. So you can do it. You can learn that stuff later. Just know that if you drag it down like that on your regular computer, it can really, you can code the whole thing so much faster. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Lawn maintenance, that's going to be contract services again.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So, yeah. Same with snow removal and lawn chemicals.
Yeah.
The other thing too is I'm realizing over time I'll get much quicker with where these are listed in the
Yep.
Oh, you know what? I'm just now realizing too, at the bottom there's specific contract services. You have pest control,
Correct.
landscaping, and security.
Correct.
Should I go back and change those, or should we lump them all under contract services?
So it's up to you, and I'm tempted to show you this part again. I turned off my screen. I'm tempted to turn it back on. Because because it shows up so differently, I allowed you to code it either way, and it all feeds into a total contract services.
Oh, okay. So in theory, it doesn't matter too much.
Correct. Correct. But some students are savvy enough to go, oh, that's pest control specifically, and so they'll market that. And others are like, I'm too bored with that. Let me just put in contract services. So I'm kind of trying to accommodate two different ways and get to the same accurate result.
Okay. And is there any advantage to being more specific?
No,
I mean,
I don't think so. Except if somebody else looks at it and goes, I'd rather, I just don't think so. No, I don't think so. It's just the kind of what you find in the list and what your brain thinks about. And maybe the beginning underwriter literally types in lawn,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, insurance, tax.
I'm sorry, this is probably very painful for you. This is very slow.
Well, this is the advantage of if the other two guys aren't on tonight and it's you and me, we can literally sit here and do this. And if you're okay with it, you okay with this?
No, this is perfect because
Okay.
But besides last week's session, I've never seen this underwriting platform before. So this is perfect practice for me. And we're actually almost at the bottom, it looks like.
And in all fairness, people are at different places in underwriting. David Selvin's pretty far down the road. He can code this really fast. So I know why he may be dragging his feet in terms of I got to go do some other things. And so if you think about it, it opens the door perfectly for us to work at this pace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he would probably be getting a little bored at this point. All right. So totals, unless it's the total gross income, we're not doing anything for totals or leaving them blank, correct? But there is a total operating expense, I think.
Yep. And type in EXP. No, no, it's gotta maybe click that arrow and then type it. It's different because it's on the iPad. If you click arrow and then type EXP.
I'm not seeing a difference here. I'm gonna have to play around with the iPad and figure out a better system here, but for the moment.
Okay, if I do it, it opens the whole window, and then I can do EXP, and then I can click from the choices. So this one's total expenses TE there. And then there's an NOI also.
And if you just type in NOI, the letters, it should make it.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it should.
Okay. Those are mental notes for when I'm working on a proper computer. All right, so I think we're down to the bottom there.
Okay. All right, so now let's start to look back at the prop one.
Mm-hmm.
And if things are working right, and this is a relatively clean T12, then we want to see some good color coding going on here. So under prop one,
mm-hmm.
Our gross potential rent is green. We're happy with that because that's within the tolerance. D12. Do you see that, Sal?
Yeah, but when you say within the tolerance of what?
So go over to the right and go down to S52.
Okay.
You can adjust these tolerances. And so what is this saying? This is saying that if your $660,060 is within $1,000 of the actual on the T12, it's going to come up green.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Is it basically just double checking to make sure that the right amount, the correct amount, or close enough?
Yep.
Has populated?
Yep. And your idea of close enough may be different than mine. So you can go back and change those tolerances. You know, maybe you want it within $10 and you change that to $10.
Okay. So it's essentially
me,
just cross-referencing our totals on this page with what was copy and pasted onto the T12.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. They told us this should be 660. And when we coded the actual number, it was 660. And so fine, we're together. Now, when we get to the gross schedule rent, we come up with something that's yellow. Yellow means expenses above the rule of thumb or above the tolerance value. So this might be interesting to go back to the T12 and ask, what do they think the gross scheduled rent is? And did we code this wrong or what?
Okay. So going back to the T12 gross scheduled rent,
I don't know that we have gross scheduled rent coded anywhere, do we?
Yeah, it's what I was looking for. I don't see it. And remind me the difference between gross potential rent and gross scheduled rent. Potential factors in the loss to lease, whereas gross scheduled rent is theoretically if everyone that's in the building is paying rent, then that's what we should get plus the other income.
Check. Yeah, the plus isn't in there yet. So just if everybody paid what the rent was, that would be the gross schedule.
Okay. So that would probably be the total rental income on A11.
Yeah, and it looks like, so we're at 538,670. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
So, you know, our total rental income TRI comes in at 534 and it's red. It's below the value. And theirs came in at 530. What did we say? 538. There's a little bit higher than ours. So we're more than $1,000 lower, and that's why it's showing up red.
Okay.
And here's why we coded, if you look at the coding, there's concessions that we coded that are now going to show up on prop one down in, they're going to show up at different places here, right? Concessions 5477, vacancy 49702, allowances, bad debt 534. And I'd like to see for total effective gross income, I don't see a color on that one at all, which I'm not happy about at the moment.
Because there should be coding in there that should populate
that should
one
have
of
a
the three
color.
colors.
Yeah. This is the beta model of the revised template. I'm confident in the calculations because we use the same template that we used before that we've been using for a long time. But what you're seeing is a format issue there where I wish the colors had shown up and they're not. So that bugs me. But it's not an issue of is it calculating right or not.
Okay. So going back then to the other colors, regardless of whether the colors are showing up or not, it's an indicator that our numbers might be a little off. So how would you go and correct the GSR and the total rental income?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a red flag where you want to just stop and look a little bit closer. If everything comes up green, we're all like, fine, I'm moving on. I'm not going to pay any attention and go through this T12 much. But if it's coming,
but now that we see some yellow and red.
So it's below what they've got. So now I do want to go back and look at that one. See their total expenses. So they've got 281,000 for total expenses.
Okay. So we're obviously a couple thousand short of that. And now we are trying to go back to the T12 page and corroborate that what is shown up on the prop one is the same as T12 and vice versa? Or how would you approach that?
Yes. In fact, look what I typed in C78. I took the 281 of their number and I subtracted out of our number, and the difference is $2,692. I don't see it right offhand, but I can now search. I can do Control Find on the T12 and type in 2692 and see if I find it anywhere. I don't actually find that number, so I'm not too bothered by this. I'm off by 3,000. It's getting a little bit sloppy, but at the same time, you know, man, this is so typical with a T12 from a smaller number of units, which we're looking at. This is the way it goes. If it's, what's this one, 74 units, it's kind of sloppy bookkeeping, right? We've seen a lot of T12s, and this one isn't really laid out the way as clean as I'd like it. So we're within $3,000 of total expenses. What was our total, our EGR, our effective gross income? Let's see how close we are on that.
55950. 555,950.
Okay. Now they have 538,670. So we're above them.
I'm trying to find that right now. Oh, there we go. Okay. Interesting. This is the part of underwriting that you kind of scratch your head and you flip back and forth and try to figure out where things went south.
Yeah, and let's just see 49,702. So physical vacancy is a big number. We've got that in. $538. Let me do the same thing here. This equals this minus, let's do this one more time. Yeah, this is, where you start to slow down a little and go, now I've got to take more time and think about this a little bit more. And so I'm off by $17,000. I don't see anything 17 right off, but I'm coding. Concessions should be in there. Loss to lease should be in there correctly. And I'm curious to see now, does their number add up, right? Because I've had it where theirs literally doesn't. If I say the sum of these columns, do I really get 538, 670? I do. So that's subtracting their numbers correctly.
Interesting.
Well, anytime we move a number out of this income and put it down in expenses, you're bumping up the expenses, and that's why expenses are higher. And you're bumping up the revenue. And that's why when we come to, if we look at Prop 1 and look at the actual net operating income of 277, let's scroll bottom. We're within $6,000 of that, right? Let's see what the difference in our NOI is. Does that make sense how we're moving certain items they're calling income into expense?
Yeah, we're rearranging it so it makes sense that our totals are gonna be different.
Yeah, and so the income's going to go up, which it has, and the expenses are going to go up, which it has, right? So, in the end, it's a little disconcerting to me. I might ignore it for the moment and see what things look like, before I spend too much time going down that road. And
Sure.
I guess one way to sort of test it to just get over this whole thing is income, loss to lease, concessions, bad debt, physical vacancy, total rent.
Theoretically, though, if we're just moving income to expenses and vice versa, you should still have the same NOI. So it doesn't make sense that our NOI would be that different, right?
Correct. Yeah, so that's disconcerting. So my total expenses line up. If I mess with that, let's see, this back into, let me put it back the way they've got it and see if that matches.
Okay.
I just did something again. What does that mean?
So did you see that go green? See everything go green right there?
Yeah. What did you end up doing?
I mean, it's this one, it's a fender here for $26.92. Which is $53.84. And that's what our difference was before, was $53.84. So originally we had that as an R&M instead of another income.
Okay.
And I said it changed it to positive, but it's actually taking it as a double. So it doubled it. We were off by 5,384. It doubled this one right here, the tenant maintenance fee credit. And so I just switched that back to another income, and everything basically is back to green on the Prop 1 now.
Interesting. Okay.
And let's try to duplicate it back the other way again. Let's go back here. Take this one and let's make it a, I think we called it a repair and maintenance. Let's see if that's what we called it. Yeah. So my repair and maintenance goes to 23,207. There's a maintenance. 25,809. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm able to sufficiently I ran in this, we were on another property with another person, and we ran into the same thing. When numbers are listed as a negative under an income, it means they're an expense. And when numbers are listed as a negative under an expense, it means they're an income. And I think what the model's doing is, if you count a negative, if the seller lists this as a negative in income, it's potentially counting it as double if we correct it back to the expense column. I don't think I can explain this well enough, but it's doubling it. It's by counting it as a negative in a positive column, you're magnifying the error by 2, because it's got to overcome the initial negative to get back to 0 and then go up to the actual amount to become the expense. That make any sense?
Yeah, I think so. That does make sense. So I would imagine that the way that we fix that is just by leaving it in whatever column or whatever general topic it originally was in, correct?
Yeah, and I would say anytime you see these negatives in these columns, it's going to be a problem in your mind of, uh-oh, this could be a problem for me. Let me be a little careful about shifting around. What we're trying to do is fix their accounting document, and make it be the way we'd like to see it. And in so doing, creating our own sort of headache. Well, so let's see. So that column I'm okay with. And I'm okay with a red. See how the total rental income is red?
Yeah.
I'm okay with that, because by the time we get down to effective gross income, we're back to green. So we went out of whack for the GSR. We went out of whack for the TRI. We did move things between those two spaces, but by the time we got back to the total effective gross income, we're back to green.
Okay. And essentially what that is just saying is, sorry, keep going.
Go ahead. Yeah. Restate it.
I was going to say that it just has to do with the fact that we're classifying things in different categories than they did. But as long as the big picture is still in alignment, then we're okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So where can we go from here? How are we doing on time? We're at 6:14, and I think this is fine if you're willing. I'm all for, going through documents like this. And when I do writing, sometimes it flows for me and I do it in 5 minutes. And other times like this, I get bogged down and it takes me an hour. You know, it's just the way it goes for my brain is sometimes in line with the documents and sometimes not.
Hmm.
Well, so that's pretty good. How do you feel now about this process? And I might tempted. You're on your iPad though, so I don't want to give you too many exercises to do from where you're sitting right now.
That's okay. I can sort it out.
Can't you just?
Well, so I think what you're trying to practice is, you know, cutting and pasting in the T12, reformatting it. Maybe your homework for next week, part of it at least, is to try to go back to this file folder, copy in a brand new template. Let's see here. Make a copy. Try to just roll through this same property another time and see if you can get back to where we are now.
Okay.
Does that sound like it would be a productive use of your time?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, repetition, right?
Okay. Yeah, and you're kind of seeing, and it's the crazy thing about when you get to 200 to 300 unit properties. Oh, it underwrites so much cleaner because their bookkeeping is far more professional.
Agreed. But on just to throw a con though to 200 to 300 units, you're competing with a very different type of buyer though at that level, and so equally you have to be on top of your stuff that much more as well. Correct?
Yes, and what you really want to find is when we do these smaller properties, you're really looking for opportunities because they're not as sophisticated a bookkeepers. We're looking for opportunities to you know, buy the thing and turn it around type thing. We're looking for mismanagement, right? We're looking for bad accounting. We're looking for opportunities that are harder to find.
Yeah. So if anything,
So
it's a red flag in the right direction.
right, yeah. Yeah, it's annoying, but sometimes it pays off, right? Well, so I
Mhm.
dropped in a 004. Maybe go through the whole exercise starting again, cut and paste in that T12, recode it, and then go back to the 003 and see if it's all coming up. You might not have to. You just see if it comes up green.
Okay, that sounds great. I will definitely do that in the next day or two. While we're still on the 003, though, just looking at the big picture on Prop 1, the last few minutes that we have here, is there anything else, any other quick tips? Because there's a lot on that page. Any other quick tips that I should be aware of or I should pay attention to, or is that maybe something that we'll get to later?
So I think on your homework too, you should. Why can't I find what I'm looking for? Here it is. I think you should try to cut and paste the rent roll also.
Okay.
Let's see how this sucker looks. What is over here? And unfortunately, you know, we spent a lot of time on the T12. The rent roll could really blow us away at times, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's sort of your next. If you can get the D12 going in kind of clean and coming up green, then I think your next challenge is let's start going at this rent roll and see if I can cut and paste this in and code this also.
Okay.
And
It's
just to
not.
give you, go ahead.
Sorry, I the lag. I accidentally keep cutting you off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm just saying for the rent roll, it's
Mm-hmm.
you're coding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think 7 columns instead of 1.
Okay.
So it steps up in complexity there, just even in the coding.
Oh, I see. Yeah, there's drop downs for, okay. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, there's 7 different drop downs. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 different drop downs.
And it's not allowing me to click on any of the drop downs at the moment, but I would imagine that when I do get to that point, I should be able to understand what they all mean.
I think so. Yeah, you'll have to look at it a second, but yeah, it's allowing me to do it. I think this is going to be really hard to do on the iPad.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't use a laptop on your travels?
So I actually do have a laptop with me, but it's been giving me some issues. So I've tried to transition over to the iPad as much as possible. But I think that I can get it running on a laptop and be okay.